that you have memorized standard form, vertex form, and the axis of symmetry equation. Are you making fun of me right now? You need to know those things, okay? Now, here's the thing, guys. They're on here. They'll be on your quiz. You need to know where they are. Like, this is which form? That's vertex form, right? This is standard form, okay? You just need to know the format. This one is not on there anywhere. You need to know how to find it. Negative b over 2a, okay? So let's walk through these, make sure we know how to do it both ways. So one's in standard form, one is in vertex form. You should be able to graph both and come up with all the components that go into it. So this first one, given this equation, what is your vertex?
-1, -5.
-1. So the opposite of what's inside the parentheses, -1. And the same as what is outside the parentheses, -5. Okay, which makes your axis of symmetry what? Not -1. X equals -1. If you don't put the x equals, that's half of the question wrong. You have to put x equals -1. It's a line, right? You're welcome to draw the axis of symmetry in. I think it's very helpful. -1, -5 is your vertex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're there. How do you find a y-intercept? It is where it intercepts the y-axis. How do you find it? What is the x value?
X is 0.
It's 0c, but this doesn't have a c, right? This is vertex form. X is 0. So if I plug in 0 for x, I get 2 times 0 plus 1 squared minus 5. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. So all of this equals 2. 2 minus 5 is -3. Your y-intercept then is 0, -3. So plot that. 1, 2, 3 down would be right here. How do I graph my last point?
You gotta reflect.
Reflect that. Flip it over. That's going to go here. And then remember, this is a parabola, not a V. So make it curved. It's got a, oh, I missed. You need 3 points. You need the vertex and then your y-intercept and the reflection of it. You don't need another 2. No. Yeah, a little. This dot, that's your vertex. So we found the vertex for the first part was -1, -5. That's that point. Okay, so we graphed it. What is your minimum?
My minimum's -5.
It's right, your lowest point, right? So your lowest y value is -5. So your minimum is -5. That's right here, right? -5. What's your domain?
My domain, it's all real numbers.
All real numbers. That's your fancy R. And then what's your range?
Y is greater than -5.
Whatever your minimum or your maximum is, that number is what you're using. You just need to decide less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So y has to be greater than or equal to because it's opening up. It's going to keep going in that upward direction, -5. Okay. Second one, now this one's in standard form. How do you find your axis of symmetry?
You have to do the axis of symmetry method.
-b over 2a, right? What's a -b right now?
-b is 4.
+4 over 2 times your a value is -1. Okay, so it's 4 over -2, which means x equals, that would work out to a -2. So our axis of symmetry is here. Okay, that means your vertex is -2 something. How do you figure out the something?
Put the 2 into the upper one.
Plug 2 in. Now be careful here. It's -x squared. That's saying the opposite of x squared. So it's the opposite of -2 squared minus 4 times -2 minus 3. This is where 90% of people are going to make the mistake. Negative 2 squared is a positive 4, but we are taking the opposite of that. So that's negative 4. Then it's negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. And then it's minus 3. So negative 4 plus 8 is 4. 4 minus 3 is 1. That goes here. Okay, so your vertex is negative 2, 1. Plot that. Negative 2, 1 is right here. Is this going to open up or down?
Down.
Why?
Because it's a negative x.
Because it's the negative out in front of the x squared, okay? Your y-intercept is what?
Negative 3.
0, negative 3. Your y-intercept in standard form is your c value. Don't mix that up with this one. Your y-intercept here was not negative 5. Okay? It only works in standard form that you can say 0, negative 3. Does that make sense? So 0, negative 3, 1, 2, 3 puts us here. What other point do I graph? Reflect it. So if we were 2 to the right, you're going to go 2 to the left and plot that point. So your graph, make it rounded, it's a parabola. Looks like that. Okay? What's your maximum? What's your highest point? Are you doing this with me?
Yes, I am. This
No, I am. What's your maximum? Maximum's 1, right? How high your y value goes. We're at 1 here. Your maximum is 1. What's your domain? All real numbers. And what's your range?
My range is y is less than or equal to 1.
Less than or equal to 1, right? Whatever your maximum or minimum is. And then did you go less than that or greater than that? Okay? Questions on those? Why? Oh. Okay. Given this equation, you're going to find the axis of symmetry. We just did this. What's the formula for axis of symmetry? Negative b over 2a. Okay? So you're going to do a negative 16 over 2 times negative 4. Remember, if you're plugging it into your calculator, put parentheses around that. I think these ones are so simple, just do it in your head. Negative 16 over negative 8. What's a negative divided by a negative? A positive. Okay, so your axis of symmetry is x equals 2. Then it says find the vertex. How do you find the vertex?
The vertex, you gotta plug it back in.
Plug it in. So plug in the 2. You got negative 4 times 2 squared plus 16 times 2 plus 10. Just plug that into your calculator. Your calculator can do that work for you very easily. When you plug that in, what do you get?
What do I get?
When you plug that in. You should get 26. Okay, so that's your vertex. Then it says rewrite it in vertex form. What other piece do you need to pull out of your original equation to put it in vertex form?
A.
You need the a, right? This is your a. So you're going to say y equals, a always stays the same, negative 4 times x, is it plus or minus 2? Minus 2 squared plus or minus 26? Plus 26. So it's going to be the opposite of your x, the same as your y. That is vertex form. Questions on that? All right, number 4 says find the equation for the given parabola with a vertex of 1, 3 that goes through the point 4, 21. What variables can you give your vertex? No. H and K. Okay? X and Y are going to be your 4 and your 21. So let's start with just plugging in the H and K. So in standard form, in vertex form, it's Y equals A times X minus H, right? So that's X minus 1 squared, this is why it's super important that you know this form, plus your k value. If you can write that in for me and get nothing else, that's one of the 3 points for the problem. Can you get it into vertex form? Okay? Second step is then take this point, whoops, and plug it in. So the x goes here, the y goes here. So it's 21 equals a times 4 minus 1 squared plus 3. Simplify that. We need to do PEMDAS, okay? 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So this is 9 times a plus 3 equals 21. Now you're going to take away the 3. So 18 equals 9a, and then divide by 9. So your a value is 2. Okay? Once you have that, you're going to go back to that very first thing you did, right? We plugged this in. The only thing that's getting replaced there is your 2 is going here. So your new equation is y equals 2 times x minus 1 squared plus 3. You put it back into that very first equation you came up with the a plugged in. Does that make sense? Yes, no? All right. Last thing. This is one of the 4-3 questions, so get your calculator out. This is your L1, L2, right? Your x and your y, your x and your y, your x and your y. So you're going to plug in for your x values, your L1. You're going to go, actually here, I'm going to put this, I'm going to switch off of that for now so you can see my calculator. So clear, enter, clear, enter, so that you clear out your lists. Okay, what is your L1? -2, first x, then 0, your second x, then 2, your third x. Then move over to L2, and you have -18, enter, -4. You have to do them in the same order too. -14. Okay, so you should have this right now. We are looking for the quadratic model, aka what? The equation, right? When it asks about the quadratic model, it's asking you to do the equation. So we're gonna do stat, calculate, just move over to calculate. Which one? 5, quad reg. Go down to calculate, hit enter. Remember, it gives you this beautiful format. You have ax squared plus bx plus c. You're just substituting a, b, and c into that. So your equation, let me click back, should be this. Y equals -3 x squared. That's your a term. Your b is 1, so you don't need to put the number 1 in. You can just call it x, and then -4. You still with me?
A little bit.
A little bit? Can it be a lot of it, maybe? Okay, so you got your equation. That's all we're going to do on that one for right now. Number 6, I said that was the last one. Sorry, this is the last one. 6 says this: the path of a baseball is given by the function shown, where f of x is the height of the baseball in feet. X is the distance from home plate in feet, okay? The question is, what is the maximum height of the baseball, and how far from home plate does it reach the maximum, okay? Now think about this, okay? It said f of x is the height. So this is your, like your y value. Y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. How far from home plate, distance from home plate, is your x, okay? So in this case, this is your f of x, oops, your y, or your f of x is what you have here. So what we can solve for right away is our x, right? We always find x first and then y. So in this case, how do I find x from this?
You gotta find the AOF.
Yes, axis of symmetry, negative b over 2a, okay? So it's going to be a negative b. What's negative b right now? Negative 1, because right now it's 1, okay? So it's negative 1 over 2 times your a value, negative 0.0032. Make sure, let's do it in a different color so we're seeing it. Parentheses, okay? Make sure you do those parentheses. So plug that into your calculator because nobody wants to do that by hand. Negative 1 divided by parentheses 2 times a negative 0.0032. And you get this number, x equals 156.25. What units? That's feet. How far from home plate does it reach the maximum? So 156.25 feet away from home plate, it's at its max. Then it starts to come back down, okay? What is the maximum height? You're plugging x in. So it's going to be f of x equals f of this, if you want to put the number in, negative 0.0032 times 156.25 squared plus 156.25 plus 3. Just plug that whole thing into your calculator. And when you do that, you get that f of x equals 81.125. This one is saying the distance, the height of the baseball. That also was in feet. So the height of the baseball would be 81.125 feet. Preguntas?